Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I always seem to do these in the evening because I've got nothing better to do. Today I'm going to talk about teleporter psychology, and what I mean by this is I like to think of engineer as a businessman. You, especially on a pub server, you want to, well, I'm the only engineer here, but you want to compete with the other engineers on your team so that you can get the most points. So you want your teleporter to be in an appropriate position, like this. You walk out of spawn, oh, there's a teleporter, I should take it. It's right there in the front lines if we're attacking this point. And you can easily go out and then get your head taken off. Or you can choose to go this way. So your teleporter exit should be roughly whereabouts the fight is going on. Also tucked away so you can sort of sit here, chill out by the dispenser, you're in no immediate danger. Like for example, having your teleporter exit up here would be quite a bad idea because you'll get shot by everyone over there. It also limits your mobility because you're like, you have to go this way, otherwise you're in danger going this way. Well, this you can sort of go through, you're in no immediate hurry unless there's people camping around here, which then it's kind of your team's fault. And you can sort of decide where to go. So you could also put your teleporter exit here, probably here. The problem with that is people from over here and over there could come and see you as you come through. So this is just a normal spot you can use. But I'm not here to talk about the specific spots, more just the psychology. Now when you head back to spawn, if you want a teleporter to get all the points and you want your team to get there as soon as possible, you want to see as a person spawns, you want to guess what path they're going to take to get to the front line. Like, someone isn't going to go around this way and then head through the tunnel to the front line, it's like too slow. So if you put a teleporter here, it may not have as many people see it. But usually people will come up here and then head up to the rocks. So you can place it here. Also, the thing about Badwater is as soon as you get to here, this is where the snipers are sort of duking it out. So you don't really want to get in the middle of that and get your head shot off. So placing teleport from here, even to somewhere around here, like over here, is good because it skips that sort of threat. And so, like, you can have teleporters that go like really far. This is just like a normal spot. You could have a teleporter that just goes like to the rocks here, and you could argue, why build a teleporter here? Like, it's still in danger of here, but it's still a decent teleporter, because when you think about it, if you're like a heavy, then like spending as little time like trying to trek across the combat to get back towards your team is good. So just always have a teleporter in mind for the heavy. And other classes, maybe like soldiers and demos who aren't really keen on rocket jumping. And also keep in mind the level of your teleporter. Like once it's set up, like I like after pushing this point, if I know we're going to get this, I'll try and go back and set up a teleporter here, and it's not really in a hurry of leveling it up because we're just sort of running around here assaulting the point. If you know your team has just died recently going in for a push, you may want to level up the telly because then there's going to be a lot of people going in through it, but at the same time you also want to decide, should I back up or not, because with a whole bunch of your team dead, they could push back onto you and kill you and then take out your telly. So if you know your telly's going to go down, you might want to back up and then set it back here. But yeah, you want to level up your teleporter a lot. Level 2 is probably the most ideal level because, okay, a level 1 teleporter takes 10 seconds to fully recharge between people, while level 2 takes 5 seconds and level 3 takes 3 seconds. So the 5 to 10 second thing is a big deal. You can get like 2 people in and like the cost of like 1 person going through with a level 1 teleporter, if they're all like stacking it. And the sort of like the 2 seconds from the level 3, level 2 is negligible. You can just sort of like have that set up if you have like the luxury to be able to set up a level 3 teleporter. If you're in a hurry, just level 2 is perfectly fine. Also, another thing to keep in mind, which doesn't necessarily matter, but I like to be aware of it, is when you're upgrading your teleporter, they added this like, I think it was a year ago or something, but they never used to do this, where once it upgrades to like the next level, it has a bit of downtime like this, where you can't go through the telly, and then it comes back up. So if there's someone like sitting on the teleporter and you're upgrading it, then if it's about to fully recharge, you should just stop for a second if you're about to level it up, because otherwise you'll be like leveling up to level 3 thinking, oh, I'm going to get this really fast for this person standing on the teleporter, when actually it'll be fully recharged and then it goes into downtime, and then you're just sort of wasting your time a little bit more. It doesn't really matter, but it's just a little thing to pay attention to if you're a nerd like me. Another thing is sneaky teleporters behind people. Now, if you've got a lot of engineers, which tends to happen on pubs, especially on attack, because attack engineer is fun, then as long as you have one teleporter leading to like the front line, then it's a decent idea to sort of like go over behind and try and build a telly so you can sort of flank their team. But if you're the only engineer, it's probably a bad idea to build a sneaky teleporter, even if it's like really far behind on third while they're all on second, because where your teleporter is, you're diverting the traffic of your team to the front line. You're essentially the commander. You're sort of like guiding where your team's going to be. Your dispenser's going to be where your team's holding, so that's why you want it sort of like near a choke point, so they can always keep up the pressure around here. And the sentry is kind of like, it's not necessarily like holding the area. Your team is holding the area, your sentry is just protecting your team. But that could be for another video. But basically you want to have your teleporter in a useful spot for all of your team, even if it could be a really good spot for spies. Really good for spies behind them. If you have the luxury of another teleporter on your team, then you can go for a sneaky one. But you want to just like keep your team going in the right place before you have a bunch of your team's heavies behind the line not knowing what to do and not pushing the cart. With the mindset of the psychology, people coming in through here, everyone's going to stack this teleporter. So if you spawn and say your stuff is damaged, then you're probably going to have to fight over this teleporter with other players, because they want to get to front line first, and they don't give a shit if you build it because it's a teleporter. So if you're building a say for example you've got a sentry up there for whatever reason, maybe it's a Skyle server, and they're bombing in and constantly like pushing you guys back. So you want a sentry here so you can pick up a few kills as they come in. So you've got an exit specifically for you to keep coming back to this spot. This would also work mainly for defense, where the telly leads to your base. Then maybe you want to place the entrance here. That way people can still use it when you're not using it, but it'll take off a bit of the traffic that want to get out to the front line. Just think about that. I think I've covered the basics of it. Well, good night.